Hello, everybody, and welcome to the December 2017/January 2018 edition of the Bizarre Briefing. I'm Bryce Castillo, joined as always with Brant Hughes.
Hey, that's me.
David Rowan.
That is also me.
And Jeff Schusler. Hello. Whew, we made it.
We did it.
Yeah.
Put another one, put it in the books, guys.
I'm getting ready to write some New Year's resolutions.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What, like...
You know, since we're at the end of the year here.
I see.
Yeah,
I see.
sorry.
Yes. Yes, we're back. We didn't do an episode in December for December because between travels and holiday stuff, we were gonna do one a couple weeks ago.
Ice.
And then the ice. Though I'll tell you what, the ice, like the road situation, was not too bad. Like from my drive here would have been perfectly fine, except for literally that turn into Brian's neighborhood right up the street.
Oh,
right there.
The little downhill area?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only place I actually saw real ice, and it's the worst place for it because it is downhill. It's already on a slope.
You're going to slide into one of the curbs at some point.
Yeah, and it's like a divided highway, but it doesn't have a stoplight. So it's crazy that's the last thing that melted. But anyway, welcome. We're glad to be back. We're glad to have you back. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, everybody in studio.
Yeah.
If you don't know, if you've listened to all of this and you don't know what this is the behind the scenes podcast of all of your favorite stuff like Scam School and Modern Rogue and Night Attack and Scam Stuff and Weird Things and the First Pass Edits and all sorts of good stuff on the internet. Did you guys have a good Christmas break?
Sure.
Good break?
I had a fantastic Christmas.
Yeah?
I got two of them.
Oh, you did?
Divorced parents.
Oh, right. Did you guys travel? Jeff, you didn't travel, right? You stayed here.
No, my folks came into town, so.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice. David, you drove? You drove out somewhere?
Yes. I hang glided to the first place.
Okay.
And I drove to the second place. Yeah.
You usually can't do it both ways.
Right. Yeah. One was in San Antonio, about an hour and a half south of here, and the other one was in Dallas, about 3 hours north. So.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah. And that was at my sister's house, which we did for the second time in 2 years. I know that's important. People are probably taking notes about this. And she's getting married in a month.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes.
And that's nice where it's just close enough where you can kind of make it in a day trip. But you can kind of set your own terms on how long you are and aren't going to be in any one place.
But yeah, you also feel like you can leave at any moment or a day early if
if it just happens to be. Oh, I gotta. There's a thing.
Yeah,
I gotta. It's just
I got a text.
Brant, did you go drive see the parents?
I flew out to Delaware.
Okay. Oh, fun.
It was a short trip, but it was fun.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I flew back to Virginia for what was supposed to be a week and a half. And then it turned into 2 weeks.
Oh, right. You were like snowed out.
We were snowed in. I got caught in that blizzard the day after. The day the blizzard hit was the day I was supposed to fly out.
Happened to me in Boston.
Yeah?
Yep.
I was so close. I could have if I left a day early, I would have left like 5 days early.
Yeah.
But I didn't, and it kept being pushed back a day at a time, and it was really high frustration for me of just like I would love to go back to the things I've got to do in my own home. Right. I love my parents. It's great seeing them all the time, but sometimes you want to get back into this because I flew back Sunday night and had to do the Rock Block of podcasts the next Monday morning. So
God, anyway. I couldn't even imagine being gone for like a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Neither can I at this point. It's like,
we had to get ahead on a lot of stuff. Like I had to get ahead on the Scam School that dropped during that time, and then the podcasts because Christmas and New Year's were both on Monday, and 2 of the 3 weekly podcasts are on Monday.
Right.
One of them was of those 4 episodes that were affected. One of them was pre-recorded, and then the other 3 we just took off. So that ended up working out nicely. But I don't usually get a chance to travel for pleasure very much throughout the year.
Have you ever had to stay overnight in an airport?
No, I had to spend a day in an airport because I was like 10 minutes late for my plane, and they were like, the next one out is later in the evening.
Yeah,
Sorry about it.
It changes. So this happened to me in Boston when I was snowed out. Like I found out that my flight was canceled as I was on the way to the airport, and I'd already checked out of the hotel, right? So I get to the airport, and I want to go in through security and just make it like, what's that Tom Hanks movie? Terminal. The Terminal? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Where he's like stranded in an airport?
Yeah.
And I go to TSA, and they're like, oh, because they rebooked me on a flight, and they go, oh, this is for tomorrow morning. I was like, yeah, I know. They're like, you can't come in here until the day of the flight.
Oh my god!
And it's like a 5:55 a.m. flight, so I'm there at like 1 p.m. So I have 11 hours
to just
before I can go in, and then I realized that TSA doesn't even open until like 4 a.m. anyway. So I actually have to do the whole overnight thing. And I go, where do I go? They're like, oh, right there by the front door, buddy.
Yeah,
like,
you just sleep. If it's not occupied by any matter, you could just be there.
Yeah.
In the airport. It's crazy.
And then in the morning, I get into the airport, and there's other people. I was like first in line at the TSA, and there are other passengers that are already in there. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, why couldn't I be let in? And I realized the only thing that happened is maybe they got in, and then their flight was canceled. So they didn't have to come back out.
That's probably exactly what happened. It sucks. At least that airport is open. Like I think most airports or terminals are open 24/7, but not all of them are. And I think that's especially a bad situation if you're in it.
Oh yeah.
So that's your airport update. Your air update. We
have it every month.
Every month the update. So we're doing a new. Are the mystery boxes still available, David? Or
I shut it down right before I got here. So if somebody is like right now live, watching and wants to send an email to the store, I can probably set them up. But once this goes is posted,
oh for sure,
then it's probably going to be over. But we did them last year.
And so if you don't know, the mystery boxes are like blind boxes almost.
Yeah, we don't tell them what's inside, and then we just send them a bunch of charcoal. And
hey, the price of charcoal.
Save it. We send them a sliver of Bitcoin. It's a bunch of great stuff at a tremendous value. We just don't tell them what it is. Like we're doing the hot wire of things. We don't tell you when you're gonna go, and then suddenly you're like, oh great, but it's a cheap price. Yeah, the boxes are $29 and $99, and you're almost guaranteed to have something in the box be worth more than the price you paid for the whole box. And then there's more stuff. So then the value just keeps adding. And they were really successful last year. And this year they were, no exaggeration, twice as succcekkal as last year.
Really? Oh, that's great.
200%.
Wow.
So
I just realized you're doing a real life loot boxes.
Yeah, I mean that was the bit last year. Was like it's not gambling because you always win, and also it isn't. It literally isn't gambling.
Yeah,
but
that's exactly what it is.
I mean,
except you don't have to buy a $60 game to buy your loot boxes.
Right.
Yeah,
cut out the middleman.
There it is, yeah.
Just a game that's buy loot boxes.
Only DLC.
Just
yeah. But you're trying, like, from what I understand, you were kind of going out of your way to make people happy. In terms of what they got.
Yeah, so the difference between, I guess, last year and this year is last year was almost all about misfits, so things that were just slightly flawed, but giving them a lot of them. This year, there might be a misfit item in there, maybe two, but everything else is just going to be new stuff that you're getting at a great value. So I think it's a little bit more enticing that way.
Yeah, because I remember last year, the previous years had around this time it had always been the Island of Misfit Toys. It was always like, hey, this is stuff that had been scuffed or non-mint quality products that we couldn't sell as new. So X, Y, and Z. Here's the thing. And so last year was the real big shift of like, okay, that's not how we're doing it this year. And I think this year was our first time with the messaging being very specifically not having a Misfits focus.
Well, and the reason I think for that is partly because we have a lot more orders than we have misfit items.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Like, just
It's in terms of like the actual inventory of things.
Right. It's like if there's not 1,000 misfit items on the shelf and we get 1,000 orders, then we've got to give them new stuff,
right?
And not misfit stuff. And it's far less than that, and the orders are even more than that. So, I think it's maybe a couple years ago when the store was at the point that it was then, it made sense to just liquidate misfit items because there was a certain volume of them that sort of matched up to the demand.
Yeah.
But now the demand is so much higher that, and I think, like I said, the value add is greater when you say you're getting, like, people are going to get something in their box that's not even available in the store yet. Mm-hmm. So it's like the first look at this product comes in the mystery box.
But yeah, like, I know one of the things that I was hearing about being put in the boxes was like stuff we couldn't sell.
Well, yeah. So there's a certain person. So we look at the order history of every person, and then we hand select a mystery box. So it takes a while to get these out the door because it's not just a product already prepackaged and sitting on the shelf that just goes out the door.
Right.
It's like we take an empty box and we go, here's the stuff that we'd like to put in all of them. But then based on how the person has ordered in the past, here's the stuff that we think that they would like. So we don't, like, if they ordered, I don't know, a fire wallet, and we had a misfit fire wallet, we probably wouldn't put it in theirs, right? Because it's like they already have it. So that takes some time to do. And then I don't remember what your original question was.
Oh, stuff like talking back about exclusive stuff and stuff we wouldn't otherwise sell.
Oh, right. So
like, I know that there was one product that we sold that we were selling on the site that we no longer can sell on the site.
Right. So that goes in with some of the $99 bundles, and we do have a new version of that particular product though that will probably be announced soon.
Oh, cool.
So.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, that's very cool. And so have those started going out?
They've started going out. It's going to be a slow process. Right after I leave here, after I get that message, it's going to be seeing how many we can get out today. So
very cool.
But, I don't know if anybody's watching that has ordered a mystery box already, but you will receive a shipment notification when it ships, but it's not going to come as quickly as the ones that you might be used to from other orders.
Gotcha. So is you probably have the mystery boxes on the brain, so you probably don't have anything to tease quite yet for the store. Are we still getting? Because this is normally like the slow period of the year.
Well, there's a little bit of a partnership where some of the scam stuff, merchandise, and Modern Rogue merchandise might end up on a well-known site.
Oh, cool!
And be featured for a week or two.
Google.com.
Yes. I don't know if we can get them.
Right there on the front page.
Yeah. We'll just put it above the search bar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Below the logo. Just there's some empty space right
in
there.
between the letters.
Or
okay.
No matter what they type in, it just autocorrects to some sort of scam stuff product.
Over the letters. Okay.
And then there's a couple of new products that we're in the prototype phase of, but I think I'll probably save that for maybe the next one that we do of this too.
Cool. We did a after a Modern Rug shoot. Was it last weekend? Was it already a week ago now? We spent like 2 hours starting to build some of these mystery boxes.
Yeah.
And I found I should have kept it because I pulled them aside specifically. One of the items that we're giving away or that isn't part of the boxes, but had been engraved with a design that I made.
Yeah,
right
not all
before I
like
started.
that,
but I found a handful of
yeah.
them that were like that. And it didn't ever end up getting used, or we decided not to engrave that specific item.
Yeah.
But it was cool seeing like stuff from, that was 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
Or so.
And I actually like that little thing. It's probably, for most people, they might be like, oh, that's cool. But I love that thing. I'm surprised that we don't actually sell it on the store. But
yeah, it must have been just a cost to engrave thing, or I don't know what happened with it.
Right. It might have just been like, we're going to make 2 cents.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's a good store update. So even though it's been 2 whole months since our last episode, like probably the big news happened about a week ago, which is that the modernrogue.com now has articles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
5 times a week.
Five times a week.
A, and the.
And to head up that operation, we are now working with John Cheese, formerly of Cracked.com and of John Dies at the End, to be the editor-in-chief of this project.
Yeah.
He's churning them out, though. Look at this.
Yeah, well, and so he's working with other freelance writers that he knows, so that it's not just him writing an article every day. Because these are hefty, pretty long articles, with links and media and all sorts of stuff. Cracked articles were always very meaty and kind of longer. And so maybe we'll get John on sometime. I don't know if he's how recluse he is about sort of stuff like this, but I'm excited to see a lot of the good reactions from people online, just who have enjoyed the stuff the written stuff that's been posted, and hopefully it works out. Apparently, I think it has helped boost the Patreon a little bit.
Yeah. I don't remember specific numbers, but I want to say it's like 40 to 50 new patrons. A good little boost there.
Oh, hey, it's over the 3,500.
That's right.
Wasn't it like $34.99 or something? So one person added it and put it over the edge in a day.
The other day, that number is always weird to me because that's the public facing number, which is a little bit different from the back end number because Patreon has its algorithm to decide, these people are probably going to have declined pledges. These people might drop out. Like it kind of adjusts that for what
realistically it is.
You're going to get. Yeah.
Interesting.
But it's pretty cool. A lot of this stuff I think is based on Modern Rogue episodes. So there's this 5 people who wanted more from Nintendo and then made it themselves.
And then links to the emulator episode. Yeah.
Duplicating how criminals can duplicate your keys, and it links out to the 3D printing keys episode with Bill Duran. It's pretty cool, and it's I hope it works. I'm not. It's a cool thing, and I'm glad it's working out. But also, there's a part of me that's like, making big moves into print journalism or into the written word right now is kind of a weird move.
Can I ask? I looked at one of those before. Do they have a comment section?
I don't. So part of the reason that they didn't before, or they couldn't before, was because they were not in in Square. So we built it with Squarespace, who was a sponsor for the Modern Rogue.
Okay.
They weren't being
Squarespace.com/rogue
/rogue, was they weren't being used in the blog system for Squarespace. So they were actually, he was hand coding the pages, which was not right. Now we've gotten away from that, and it actually looks like there is a comment section.
Okay.
Under literally everything else.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Oh,
yeah.
Right, yeah.
It's all the way at the bottom.
But also,
that's where it belongs.
It's probably where it should go. I don't think anyone is in love with it
comments
necessarily, or with having more comments for something like this.
Now I've noticed that you've decided to take the bold move and not put that dumb square full of other things on the internet between.
Oh right, paid links.
Yeah,
more content.
Number 6 will surprise
you. Won't believe what happens next.
Well, and part of that is that we kind of have our own at the bottom, which is hey, here's some related products from the Modern Rogue store or Scam Stuff, and oh hey, here's a Patreon, a big very big Patreon button,
huge
Patreon.
I wish Squarespace was a little better about separating the mobile design of your site and the desktop site.
Yeah.
That being said, relative to Crack's layout, this is great.
Yeah, it's simple and it does exactly what it is. But I know I think it's something that's always being tweaked, right? We only switched over to the blog system yesterday to have a lot of stuff auto-populate and change formats and stuff. So as time goes by, it will change certainly as we figure out the intricacies of Squarespace and John.
Yeah, and if people watch the latest Modern Rogue where we announced it, that's a big reason why I didn't include the any visuals from the website, because I was like, yeah, this is launch design. That's gonna change.
It's gonna change a lot. So So check it out though. And now we have an RSS feed. I have I think it is now linked on the site.
And
at the bottom.
It should be specified an RSS feed for the articles.
For the articles.
Not the videos.
Not the videos.
Sorry, Kuhan. You'll never get it.
No.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird, interesting thing. I mean, I have no experience with the article business.
Sure.
I think a lot of the thought process behind it is, it'll cultivate its own audience, and Modern Rogue will have its own audience, and they'll all feed into the Patreon or something like that. I don't know.
I think, yeah, it's all. So I went with Brian to some of those business classes that he goes to like all the time.
It sounds like Brian.
Yeah. Okay. And he was like, oh yeah, they gave us free passes. And so he took me and John Tilton. And first off, I felt incredibly out of place being around all of these CEOs and shit. But one of the things is like it's all a funnel, right? And so you're just trying to get people into the funnel and try to get them as far down as you can. So you have viral videos or viral articles, and then some of those people will lead into seeing other stuff or cross-pollinating, and then they may see a link to the store, and then they might click on something at the store, and if they're at the store, they might buy other things. I think it's all just trying to put people in one big funnel. Into that big business funnel. The business funnel is the business term that we learned about it in the business class. And and I think that's what the play is here, is just to get people to check out the Patreon, to check out the site, and feed into everything else.
I like that this podcast, after as long as we've been doing it, is still kind of us trying to figure out what our own business is actually doing.
Well, and we started
in different ways though, because early on it was a lot of like,
literally, what
happened?
What did we do? And then we got Slack,
and now it's like we know what happened. Now we're just trying to figure out how it works.
Yeah, I think when I don't know if this idea was before Modern Rogue, where in the Modern Rogue development process it was. It almost certainly hatched before any video came out. But I think Brian also just really likes Cracked, and it's a thing he wants to replicate. And now that a lot of great writers are out on their butts, what if he tried that thing? I don't know. And I'm sure there is more to it than that, but also, like, he's been talking about doing daily blog stuff for a long time.
I think it offers an air of legitimacy as well. Just like that the institution is a thing. It's not just this thing that happens over on YouTube, but it's also, I guess it stands out because if you think about all the other channels on YouTube, how many of them have these sites that have content that's fresh every day,
Well, and a lot of the way that those channels will try to do it is by having new YouTube videos every day.
And 7-minute videos or something like that.
Or even shorter, and like really focusing
5-second videos.
Yeah, exactly. 5-second films is real big again. They got the band back together. But it's like, they'll put out a lot of videos a week, and also they'll have a store, and also maybe they'll do sponsored content or X, Y, and Z. And so I guess it's like the same. I guess it's that same sort of play, but in a completely different space. I don't know. It's when I haven't been in a blue skying brainstorming session in a while, so I'm not the most tuned into that. But it's cool. The articles are nice, and every day these big long articles come out, so that's pretty cool if you're into that. themodernrogue.com.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out.
Yeah. Speaking of the Modern Rogue, on the video side though, we hit 100 over the since our last episode. Which one was 100? Was it the stun gun?
It was yes.
making a
stun
lemon
gun
stun
was
gun.
100, which was an interesting pick for 100 because
It was a total failure.
it was a total failure, which I guess is the most appropriate for 100. And
I'm just noticing the audio bag right in the middle of the shot here.
oh yeah, yeah. We really did not clean up the shot much for this intro.
Yeah.
There's also a lens in front of Brian and
Oh yeah, there is.
and ladders and stuff.
That's the card case right there, I believe.
Yep.
The number one is that it looks like the number one.
Little peek behind the scenes.
Oh, David, there's your mouse and your laptop cord.
Oh yeah.
You really just the setup.
Yeah.
That is a 2008 white MacBook.
We wanted it to feel lived in.
Yeah.
And by lived in, I mean I didn't want to clean it up.
This transition from this intro where the background after has stuff on it now into this almost 2016 episode of Lemon Stun Gun.
Yeah, I want to say there's maybe a 5-month gap there.
Wow.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really interesting because I kept putting off that episode because
it was such
it was a
huge
mess.
bunk.
Yeah.
Nothing happened.
It was like 3 hours of footage, and Brian literally left to go to the hardware store in the middle of the shoot like 3 times.
Yeah, like a million times.
And then he ended up having to call a friend to figure out how batteries work, and then and then it sort of worked a little bit, but we weren't really sure if it actually worked or not.
Right. At the end, the end premise of the takeaway at the end is oh, I think I saw something.
Right.
Believe me. When we talk about when we workshop titles and stuff for Modern Rogue or for Scam School, when we were really doing that hard, it was always you want it to be an enticing title, and even if it sounds clickbaity, if you deliver, then there's no, that is a risk reward thing, right? It sounds clickbaity, but it actually does pay off, and so you build trust, and it's a net positive. But this episode didn't even work. That is just the weird thing to me is they go through the whole thing and nothing happens. And what's up?
Having integrated this into the end of Modern Rogue 2 or Scam School 2 weeks ago, I disagree because I watched the entire episode and I feel like the entire payoff is watching Jason get ready to stun Brian and watching Brian kind of flip out about it. That was my favorite thing. It made everything else is completely worthwhile watching Brian flinch as Jason comes at him with an instant camera that's been made into a stun gun that may or may not have been charged by lemons. Who could even know?
I mean, that is a good moment. I don't know. What do you have more feelings on this, Brant? I just feel really conflicted on it.
It's about the journey, not the destination, Bryce. If there's anything I've learned about Modern Rogue over the past 2 years or whatever, it's that it has really become about process and not product. And I think this episode in particular is just process.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason people like the show. I mean, obviously, it's hard to convert new people to the show if we just make stuff that doesn't work.
Yeah. That was sort of where my thinking was coming from. It was if I had never seen the show before and I saw this, or if this was the one that was popular, why the fuck does anybody like this?
But then again, Pruno.
That was just
3 million views. Definitely our most popular video.
But they made it.
They made it.
They
but
didn't drink it.
They didn't drink it. They didn't measure the alcohol percentage. They didn't
that's right,
do anything. They just said, "Yep, that's Pruno."
Just put garbage in a bag.
I mean, they made a lemon stun gun. We don't know that it works.
Well, we know it didn't work because they tried it.
Maybe the title should have been in quotes, making a lemon stun gun.
It's not like we said making a working lemon stun gun.
Question mark?
Making a perfectly functional lemon stun gun.
But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, it's hard to convert people because, yeah, if it's your first episode, then that's kind of like a weird thing. Yeah. But I think if you've seen any other episode, you understand that part of like the big appeal to the show is the fact that it's these two guys who had like a fun, maybe ambitious idea, and then you're seeing the process that theoretically you probably would have taken, because it's, there are a lot of how-to channels out there on YouTube. There are a lot of people who are really good at making things, and they know how to make things, and they say this is the way to make something. Whereas Brian and Jason, they go, we want to make a thing. How does that work? And then they kind of just stumble their way to it sometimes working. And that stumbling is, I think, a lot of the charm and appeal. Although it sort of needs to be reined in sometimes.
Yeah.
Can that be the next Patreon shirt? We want to make a thing. How does that work? Question mark.
I've got to go make mystery boxes.
Okay.
So see y'all later.
Thank you very much,
right.
David Rowan.
Bye, David.
Yeah. Just overdub some applause in there.
Okay, yeah. We're
Man, last one here, first to go. Boy.
Yeah. I think there's a balancing act between those two ideas, certainly, of like, how much are you? Because when we are shooting Modern Rogue, it's very much like, what are the takeaways and what is of value in the video, right? Like that's a very much a lot of the conversations that happen between shooting,
Sure.
Of like, what's the title? What's the value? What do they take away? What's our end goal? What's our, success quotient?
Mm-hmm.
And so for this one to kind of fizzle, it was 5 months ago, so we were in a different gear then on that stuff.
Well, yeah, this is 5 months ago, and then in the upper right-hand corner, you've got firing arrows like a Mongolian warrior as your most recent episode. They're just like, I don't know, let's put some nails and some lemons, and then next week we'll be riding a horse.
Yeah.
The Mongolian stuff, though, much more successful, I think, in terms of like payoff, I think.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And also that episode was fun just to like have a lot of space to shoot.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about that.
Okay,
Let's talk about that a little bit. So the episode that came out, was that this week's past episode?
Yeah.
On Friday, was all about how to fire a bow.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a whole like little club of people helping us out with that. We've got the Hun here for this episode, but we've got a couple more people in the follow up.
Yep.
Coming up soon.
Mm-hmm.
And this was an interesting one to shoot. We had definitely space was a big thing that we almost never have.
Yeah, especially it's like if you've seen any episode shot in this studio,
oh sure,
there's no space for anything. We put on like the widest lenses we can have, and then even then, the cameras are 3 feet away from Brian and Jason.
Yeah,
and it's just a mess. The warehouse is better, but like I think the big difference is if you think about the 85 millimeter, which this shot that you're currently seeing is the 85 millimeter.
What would normally be our wide shot or our master shot.
Yeah, and so that's for people who don't know, 85 millimeter is pretty telephoto. It's fairly zoomed in.
Yeah,
and we very rarely get to use it, honestly. We get to use it in the warehouse a bit on one of the cameras, if that camera is particularly far away.
Yeah,
very
controlled space.
Yeah, we can't really use it at all for Scam School. We can't really use it at all here. It's a great lens and it looks really awesome, but the use case is so limited because it's such zoomed in.
Right.
But here we were just out in a field, so I was like, "Yo, let's our master shot. Let's put an 85 millimeter on it." I want this to work.
It was so far away. I remember just like having to jog out to it.
It was
on.
like 150 feet away or something. It was pretty out there.
Yeah. But it's a good master shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was also a mixture of like, it was kind of overcast that day. So it looked really nice all day.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't have too much, overblown sky or.
Yeah, I had to dial it in a little bit because the sensor on the GH4 and the GH2s are a bit different. Yeah. So like some of the GH2s you get blown out sky with a little bit of gray in it, and so I had to kind of dial that down to sort of match the GH4. But the GH4 had a really nice flat profile of everything.
Yeah, and so like this first episode about the different types of arrowheads and different types of bows and the shooting style, that went pretty standard fare, right? See some stuff, demonstrate, and then that's it. The episode that do we have is the second part coming up anytime soon?
So not this week, but next week.
Okay,
theoretically,
yeah, stuff might change. Was them taking those skills and applying them on horseback, which.
Oh boy!
Oh my god! So it probably took 2 hours to do just that episode? Would 2 or 3 hours to do that second episode?
Yeah, probably 2, maybe 2.5 if we include like everything.
Yeah, and it was that was an issue. That was a case where the extra space was all right for shooting. But lent itself to an air of now go do whatever the fuck you want, everybody, everywhere. And so, both at some point, Brian and Jason are practicing how to ride the horses without using their hands. And so they each have an instructor at some point, and they're both on totally different parts of this huge field. And our wireless mics that we use for the guys are not that good.
Right.
And so I don't know if you've even touched that footage yet.
No.
It was a thing for me where like I was running around with a camera on a tripod. I think I was on a tripod because I was constantly having to follow somebody so I could get any sort of good audio. So like, okay, Brian's doing the track. So I need to go to the track and start catching Brian, but also so that he can have any sort of audio that could be used at all. But also the track is kind of long and I don't want to be downrange from where they're shooting. And also I can't keep up with 2 horses. So
it sounds like a lot of excuses.
Well, not to mention also there was shit everywhere because it's a horse field.
Sure.
It's a field where they kept horses. There was actual shit everywhere. So that, when we're doing like the stand up, the stationary stuff, sort of wrapping the episode, the bag is feet from just, hey, there's some horse shit right there. It was everywhere. It was cold. It was really, really cold that day too.
Yeah, it's almost like maybe some people should have got some coats. Some real nice cold weather.
I actually wish I had a glove. The coat was fine. I wish I had gloves though, because it was the hands.
Is there a reason that you guys didn't try the drone on that one, or didn't?
Well, one, I was a little concerned about like how are the horses gonna deal with it, because the drone's not super quiet.
Right.
It sounds like a swarm of bees.
Yeah.
And then
horses hate bees, Jeff.
Everybody knows that. Natural enemies.
If you offer a horse tea, honey for their tea, they will slap your face.
I thought you were going to say if you offer a horse bees. I was like, hey, horse, I've got these
offer
bees.
A horse bees.
Do you need any bees?
My sacred offering of bees.
Right.
But also, it was very cloudy, so it would have been limited visibility. And also, Brian forgot to pack it.
Oh, okay. All right. And then that.
So.
Well, there's only so much. We only get so much time. Like you have to ration out the drone time very fastidiously,
right?
Even with as many batteries as we have.
Sure.
And I don't know that we had any access to power out there.
Yeah, and also on top of that, if I'm operating the drone, I can't operate a camera on the ground.
That's what I was just thinking. Yeah.
So,
it's shoots like those, or the shoot that we did last weekend at that studio place, where I really wish we had a audio person on call for stuff like that.
Sure. Yeah.
Because a lot of the times we do the Modern Rogue stuff on the weekends. Roberto, who does Scam School, works a lot on weekends, nights and weekends. So that makes it one very specific conflict. But stuff like that where it's just we're moving around a lot and we have to have so much flexibility. I get mad on set sometimes about that because we're trying to be flexible and move around and let people do what they need to do, but also have to be in position. Otherwise, there's no good audio, or there's no one has a camera on X, Y, and Z. And,
right. Yeah.
That's like one very specific manpower shortage that gets me sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, so the horseback riding thing, like the first bit of it is really good because it's Brian and Jason riding brooms for a while.
That's right.
Which will be very funny, and it'll look great, and it'll play very well.
Yeah.
The horse stuff was chaotic. It'll probably go up on the Scam Stuff channel, just like the Whistling Arrow video did, because Brian and Jason learning how to ride horses is
for over an hour.
Yeah, with spotty audio and spotty video coverage, is not going to play well. I might have like a couple quick clips of like, hey, they totally sort of learned how to ride horses, except for Jason because his horse wasn't cooperating.
Yeah.
And then the end result of them firing off of a horse, mostly just Brian. That was fine because that was a very like controlled situation.
Yeah.
I think some of that kind of, especially the learning how to ride horses thing, sort of shares a commonality with the 100th episode, the Lemon Stun Gun, where I think a lot of times they sort of try to go, okay, well, we want to do a thing, and then they don't really put in the preparation work to figuring out all of the steps to get there. And when you have guests on the show, it's a lot harder to do that because you're relying a lot on your guests to bring that information and for them to have at least sort of like a basic understanding of how the format works. So that way, you can just say, well, as long as you have an idea that works and consolidates down, and we can shoot that. But with something like the Lemon Stun Gun, like I think that's something that could have been so much easier and could have worked so much better if any one of them had decided beforehand to let me make sure I understand the fundamentals going on here, and maybe let me try to build one on my own before the shoot.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny because I saw in Discord last night, Brian was like, yeah, we should totally hire another editor and we'll get more Modern Rogue episodes per week. But I think we could have more Modern episodes per week if we didn't have 2-hour-long shoots where we don't know if it's going to work or not, and then it cuts down to a 45-minute video.
Right.
If we were like, oh, well, at least one of you kind of knows a little bit of what you're doing, and that could cut down to a 10, 15-minute episode, then like that's like pretty easy for me to edit.
Yeah. Because I know most of the research stuff that goes into it, besides stuff that they already know or whatever, is Jason pulling in, X, Y, and Z. But this is like his third job for him. He's doing a bunch of other stuff already, and that this would be. I think we had talked about. I don't know how big this. I don't know if we talked about this much before, but like at one point, like there were talks of like, we could have multiple hosts of the Modern Rogue, of like, this may not be, it may not always be Brian and Jason. It might be, I don't know, more people doing more stuff, right? Because in a world where there's, say, 5 Modern Rogue videos a day or a week, you have. I'm saying in a world, you would need a lot of hosts. You'd need multiple hosts and a lot more crew, certainly. But you couldn't just have them two do that much content every week on that. And that would be a very good first step of like saying, hey, you know what? We need someone who can research stuff and may want to be on camera. Because you're right. Like, we have very long shoots and we don't necessarily always need them to take so long.
Right.
In some of these situations. We did building a gaming PC last weekend.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago? And that took, 3 or 4 hours?
Yeah. It took pretty much most of a shoot day.
It took a whole shoot day when we thought it would only take half. But also, I think that probably took about as long as that episode could take. Like, I mean, unless they had pre-built some of that stuff, part of that was like them learning that. But
why did it take that long?
Well, it took that long because the actual building of the PC didn't take nearly that long.
Right.
It was them installing,
Windows?
operating systems and Brian figuring out how to install Overwatch, which took like a bit longer than you would think.
I don't know why it took him so long to find. He kept, I don't know what he was clicking on, but he was not downloading Battle.net. He was like, I think he kept clicking United States, thinking that the region was the download button.
And then he kept just like Google searching like Overwatch download installer, and then he kept like not getting it.
I was like, you play on Battle.net all the time. You're using these two. These are the only 2 games that you play is Hearthstone and Overwatch.
And then he was like, we should finish the episode on a win. And I was like, it does not matter, Brian. It does not matter.
Like, he's gonna play Overwatch till his team wins,
something like that.
Until he gets play of the game. Until we can play the game.
And I was just like,
those words were said jokingly, but those words were said.
I was like, wrap it up. You just finished the match. Wrap it up.
Right.
Finish the episode.
Because at this point, we were live streaming this build. For the patrons, and it was going so long, and we were like ordering. We're waiting to order food, or we had ordered food because we knew we were going to do building stuff afterwards, or we were building mystery boxes ahead of time. But I was like, just fucking finish it up. We want to eat. Fucking hurry up.
Yeah. It was
funny.
But I think the meat of that probably took about as long as it would otherwise. But I think there are certainly episodes. I don't know why I brought that up then, if it didn't help my point at all. But there are certainly things where it's like, if we had someone who went in and was like, no, you know what? Like, this is how you do it. It's, I'll talk you through it, and you just do this, and you can maintain the reactions, the general reactions thing, which is the whole reason nobody is pre-planning a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, it's like the legislation episode.
Yeah,
like
that one.
Brian and Jason probably could have said, well, how do we figure this out?
Sure.
And it would have been a mess, but they had somebody who actually knew that stuff and could just walk them through it.
Yeah.
Which made things a lot easier for everybody.
I mean, and maybe that's the next thing. I don't know, but they're long shoots, and we keep doing like back-to-back shoot day stuff, which I don't know how that's settling for you. The all weekend stuff. It's like I've talked about this before, but like the long shoots just like put me out for the day. And if it's like the Saturday and Sunday, and then do the Monday, which is all the podcast stuff, it can be a lot. Of stuff. Anyway, I don't even know where we were on the topics list here, but hey, we have a Twitter. Monterey has a Twitter.
We do. Yeah, we've had an Instagram for a while, and then I thought, well, I guess I should just get the Twitter, and then I started cross-posting, and then I was like, well, I'm on Twitter way more than I'm on Instagram, so
yeah. At Modern Rogue Show on Twitter.
A lot of GIFs.
A lot of GIFs. But this is like a clip. You got a
lot of video clips. So I'm doing a thing where when we post a video, I post basically like a 20 to 30 second
outtake
clip of the video. Sometimes it's an outtake, but it's just like a little preview teaser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Check it out.
Right now it's video stuff and article stuff. That's kind of the plan for now. I don't know if that'll split off at any point or if it'll stay together.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Okay. Yeah, I really don't know. I don't even think we have a name for all of the article stuff. It's just all in the Modern Rogue channel in Slack, which I think we were talking about off the air, but is creating there are two very specific things happening with Modern Rogue, and they're all in the same Slack channel, and maybe that's not the most useful for everybody.
There is a little bit of crosstalk going on there,
but in any case, check it out.
The Modern Rogue Slack channel is like where all the cool kids are. Like I'm just over in like scheduling and scam school, and it's always just like John Cheese and Jason Murphy, and everybody's just over in Modern Rogue having a great old time. And
well, you can't have both. You can't have a great old time and like not like sometimes when I can tell a conversation's starting, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna set Slack the Slack snooze thing for like 2 hours. Yeah, I will be back if you need me. Someone will text me, I'm sure. No, that's never actually happened though. I don't know why I said it like that. That would never happen. That's never happened. Let's change gears for a bit and talk about Scam School. And Jeff.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Woo. This is the worst thing to be congratulated about in the entire world.
Yes.
You did it.
I got an episode up on time. Finally. I think I had one. I think there was one other one that I managed to get up on time. And this one only happened because over the holidays, my sleeping schedule was so screwed up that I did most of it and then fell asleep at 1 o'clock in the morning and woke up at like 9 a.m. And then I had all of Wednesday to like do it and render it and put it up. But, yeah.
Well,
huzzah.
So it was this domino dilemma puzzle, right? I think so.
I think so.
Yeah, because I remember us talking about graphics and stuff.
Yeah.
It's always a thing. Like I am also keenly aware of like how many minutes and hours after 8 o'clock I get an episode up. This ties into our other topic very nicely. We got an email about less than a week ago, from Seeker, who owns Scam School, formerly, what were they formerly? Test Tube?
Formerly Test Tube, formerly Rev3.
Formerly Rev3. That we no longer need to use the Clarity CDN, their behind the scenes uploader.
Yes.
Thumbs up all around.
For anybody who doesn't know, there have been times where I've been done with Scam School at 8:15 and then the episode goes up at like midnight because I have a bad internet connection at home and this uploader will go all the way through and then just stop.
Yeah, it's bad, and it's been bad
for years.
Forever, basically.
Yeah, at least you've only had to deal with it for the past year.
It's true.
That's true.
It's true.
So like the long and short of it is like we render out very specific files for this back end, and we upload them. We go and upload them like you would normally when you see the progress bar. Boop, 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 boop. And when it's done, what you would expect to happen is for it to be done.
You would think.
But sometimes it hits 100, and then it just stays on 100. I've had it recently where it will flat out say, no, check the error log, this thing that you have no access to for why this shit doesn't work.
Yep.
But it usually means having to re-upload each file on average 3 or 4 times across 3 different big, like gigabyte-sized files or so. Which sucks, especially if you're like Jeff, who may not have the best upload connection. that sucks. And I think we emailed at some point right around the time Jeff started, because it was like, yeah, this should work better. We emailed our contact and was like, hey, you guys know this thing doesn't really work, right? Like, we have to upload it a lot of times and it doesn't go through all the time. They're like, okay, yeah, we'll send it to the tech team. The tech team fixed it. There you go. And no discernible change whatsoever.
Did you guys ever experience the host bug on the uploader?
No.
So it didn't come up for me super often, but there was this problem where, when you go to upload things, there are a bunch of different fields, and some of them you fill in, some of them are like description and summary, and some of them are thumbnail.
Keywords. SEO.
Well, one of those is a host field, and they use it to connect to Seeker's, like,
they have a
profile for all of the hosts on all the shows.
Yeah.
Right. So
you would click on Alex Albrecht and it would show all of his things he was in.
And you just basically, theoretically, you would put in the host of whoever's on that episode. And it auto-populates with Brian because, of course, Scam School, Brian's going to be in all the episodes.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, if you decide to save as draft, right? Because
never do that.
There are two buttons. Either you can publish or you can save it so that you can publish it later. So let's say maybe you're uploading everything and then you go, oh no, I've got to close down this browser real quick and then just open it back up. So I'm going to save this and come back to it and then just publish it then.
Yeah.
So you save it and it's like, cool, we saved it. Then you come back to it and you go, okay, now publish it. And it goes, sorry, man. You don't have a host in the host field. You got to have a host in the host field.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So you go down to the host field and you're like, Brian Brushwood. Can't do anything.
Yeah.
It's one of ththose like autofill things, and it never autofills to any host. So basically, anytime you save as draft, you have to delete the entire post, start a new post, fill everything out again. Because save as draft is just as good as deleting.
For as long as I've been doing it, anytime I've tried to go into something that was like an edit, like editing a post, it was always a completely different layout of that. So I could see where none of that worked because it automatically puts in Brian now, but it didn't used to. You'd have to, or on the AR feed, you have to type Brian and it would show Brian, and then it would show like Brain, like the little guy from Nuts. Is it Smarter Every Day? Or they have another thing where it's like a little graphic guy and he's showing you stuff.
Life Noggin?
Life Noggin. That's it. I think his name is Brain or something like that. And so if you type in BR, he also shows up in the list. But that's also like a very specific set of technology. That's not like just a drop down menu.
Yeah.
Like it's, so anyway, we don't have to use that anymore. Yeah. Apparently the email that we got was like, yeah, we're not using this technology. And the subtext was everybody hates it. So good news. We already just access the stuff through YouTube anyway. So just do it on YouTube.
Yep.
Which is, and the reason I always assumed that we needed to do it through this uploader was because there's a part in the monetization tab where you can give an asset, you can give it information that is your own proprietary information. So like, oh, this is my asset number. And when I uploaded through Seeker, it would always fill that out with exactly what it would always fill it out with something specific. And I always assumed that was the reason we were doing it, so that they could keep track of that stuff. But apparently nobody ever uses that stuff. So whatever, good riddance.
Yeah. Bon voyage.
You kids have it easy, Jeff. We used to have to upload both uphill both ways.
Yeah.
Through Time Warner.
Hey, I had
had Vessel.
God, Vessel. We cannot talk about Vessel again. We cannot get onto Vessel again. It's man. Check out the back catalog of the Bizarre Briefing.
I'm just happy that that episodes being late can be entirely my fault and not like 2 hours of trying to upload the same file over and over and over.
It's like
again.
when you play a platformer and it's like if it feels unfair to you, you get really mad. But if it's like you're just bad at the game, then that's fine.
Like, I'm not good. I can.
It controls well.
I'll get better.
Yeah.
Speaking also about Scam School, if you're in the Austin area in the next month or so, I think we have like 3 shoots that we're trying to put on the books of Scam School. One, I believe, is going to have Mr. Diamond Jim Tyler for one of those. One of those is on a Wednesday. It's on a week when you have a Scam School Wednesday, so you probably won't have to go to that shoot.
Okay.
And then the other 2, I think, are on Thursdays. So we're still setting that up. We're still trying to Brian is trying to have a lot of guests on the show because it's tougher and tougher to find new Magic material that is like public domain, and we haven't already taught in the past 10 years.
Sure.
So having more guests and stuff like that. So I think he's trying to book up guests for that. But if you're in the Austin area, let me know if you're around on a Wednesday or Thursday, and you might be doing a shoot somewhere.
And also keep up with Brian's Twitter because he'll probably post about it there the day of.
But like the day of, If you want to DM me on Discord or if you want to hit me up on Twitter, that also is fine. Let's see what else. What is this thing?
With the YouTube, and they were like, "Hey, low-level partners, see you later. Maybe if you get some big boy numbers, you'll partner up."
Right. They changed the eligibility for YouTube partner.
Yeah.
Right. Which sucked because I was a YouTube partner. I think I was like grandfathered in as a YouTube partner when literally anybody could do it, or like you only had to like verify your phone number, and so I had that for like the past decade. And then my personal channel did not have enough views. Turns out, weird how that happened. I'm such a drain on the system.
I also had kind of a legacy partnership, but I guess not that far back. But I also didn't make any money through YouTube through that. So
at the very height of our popularity, we were making about $100 off of YouTube ads, and that's why I turned it off, because as the views got to be less, I hate watching ads on YouTube videos, and if I'm going to be making $30 a month, like somebody get one extra patron, and then you guys can just have no ads. But I actually kind of like this. I think the way that they did it was harsh, and that they didn't communicate. There was a little bit of a kind of haughty air about it. About if you can just get those numbers up, then we won't have to just throw you off the program.
Right.
But if this means that there's actual eyes from people looking at YouTube videos instead of them trying to just continue to do this dumb robot content filtering thing.
So if you don't know, part of being on a YouTube partner means that you get to monetize your videos with ads through Google AdSense or YouTube AdSense, whatever. And the big hullabaloo, the big adpocalypse was that the new version of the monetization system could automatically detect various things in your video, whether it was titles or descriptions or tags, or sometimes, from what I understand, transcriptions, auto-generated transcriptions. It could say, "Oh, this video probably probably has something not suitable for all of our advertisers, so we're going to partially demonetize it, or in some cases, totally demonetize it." And you have to click a button that said, "Hey, the video is fine. Please watch the video." And sell the ad space to everybody. And that button already had an eligibility. You had to have like 1,000 views on the video in like 24 or 48 hours or something. But that was built out of necessity because there were so many people. Hello.
Oh, wait. Is David not here?
No, he went to the warehouse.
Oh, okay. We'll go to the warehouse then.
Okay.
Bye.
Brian dropped in to look for David. So,
but there was an eligibility to use that button, and now because anybody who uses partner could be monetized, that just makes so much human time to get all that stuff reviewed, and nobody likes it the way it is now. That they're taking away partner for a lot of people who, they say most of the people we took it away from made less than $100 in a year. I never made $1 on it. I wasn't uploading a lot to it. I really didn't need it. I'd usually turn monetization off anyway.
Which was also the minimum for payout, I think, right? Is that if you have less than $100 in AdSense, they won't send it to you because it's not worth their time.
And so the people who got kicked off, they would get paid out whatever they've got left. And yeah, I think it's what they need to do, because anything that gets YouTube to use more human power and less machine power, or not less machine power, but like more people, the algorithm's not perfect. It's not good enough yet, and
not remotely.
And it needs someone to look at this stuff and say, oh yeah, clearly this is fine, or clearly this is not fine.
Yeah.
But it was pretty inelegant. I also think that the people that it affected the most didn't rely on YouTube.
Yeah.
Necessarily. They probably also had Patreon or Coffee or a PayPal button or whatever. So,
I mean, on the other hand, I don't know at this point if there's anything that YouTube can do in any way, shape, or form that's not going to piss off a large majority of. It's kind of like. I guess they don't really do it anymore, but you remember when Facebook used to change the layout of Facebook and everybody hated the new layout, and then when they changed it again, everybody hated the new layout. It was that.
And then at some point, Facebook was like, we're going to change it one last time, and then you're never going to go on Facebook again.
Right.
Yeah, I remember that when YouTube did the exact same thing. When they changed it to the current layout, it's like, why did you do this? It takes so much longer to get to everything. And it's anyway, that's neither here nor there. Yeah, there's always going to be someone who's like, oh, man, so much for don't be evil. Oh. Remember when YouTube was good? Google bought YouTube and then they made it bad. But it's like, people forget that before Google, YouTube had upload limits and did not have HD, did not have widescreen, I think for all of the very bad things about Google, they have made YouTube demonstrably better in ways that, like, if like Content ID is not always the best implemented, but it is also better than the alternative, which would legally be taking down your video and putting you on a register somewhere if you make strikes and removing your content. Like it. No, go ahead. 2 years ago, somebody in the comment section on my website basically said a thing that has never resonated truer, which is YouTube's customer is not you, and it's not the viewer, it's the advertisers. So it doesn't matter if you're mad. Like, it doesn't matter if the people that are creating content are not in this artist paradise, right? Because they're literally trying to sell. But I don't know. I wish there was something different. I wish that there was an alternative, because I don't like the way that Content ID gets weaponized, but that's a whole other conversation. And it's a weird spot for YouTube, because YouTube for so long has always trucked in their creator relationship as, we're the site that has everybody on it, and unless you can get on, television, you're probably going to put your stuff here. So yeah, we'll see you on the upload button. And now that video production has gotten easier and cheaper still over time, and people are making better and better quality stuff, and it is relatively easier to get on services like sell your stuff on Amazon or get onto Netflix or whatever, or in a world where Netflix and Hulu and everyone are paying big money for original content, it's tough to be in a situation where you still expect everyone to de facto come to you to give you the very best of everything and not just easy or automatable content. It's a tough spot, and I don't envy it, but also you can be a lot smarter and faster than that, Google.
Yeah. Speaking of which, what are some YouTube feature sets you would like to see in this artist paradise?
Man, you know what I'd like? I really miss this a lot, and it's the only thing I wish had made it from the old redesign to the new one is it used to be that you could click a button, or when you clicked on your icon on the top right, you could click into Creator Studio, or you could click on there was like a My Videos button there, and now you have to go into Creator Studio, and then you have to go into videos, and all of that takes, for some reason, that is the slowest part of the site to load.
Sure.
And that's frustrating.
It is. It is.
So a My Videos button.
Okay. I have some features here.
Okay. Oh my good God. I brought out a book. Holy shit. Okay. Lay it on us.
A lot of these are community management focused because I spend a lot of time doing that.
Sure.
I would like for YouTube to list the time a comment was posted specifically and not just X amount of months ago.
Okay.
That'd be nice. Even if it was just like hover text or something, just be like, hey, here's...
It doesn't do that on hover text?
No, it does not.
And are you looking for a specific date or also the timestamp?
I would like the specific timestamp and date.
Okay.
It's the kind of thing where it's like it's not make or break, but sometimes like when comparing comments posted on different videos, you have no idea which comment was posted first.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I would like for them to show comment edit history. That'd be nice.
Like what a comment used to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Facebook does it, I think.
I don't know. I know both sites will say it's been edited.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, I guess Reddit does it as well. They're like, oh, there's a star because you edited it. But I think, showing like if somebody decides to totally fucking change their stance, I think it'd be cool to look back and see like, yeah, that's maybe not what you said originally.
Okay.
But it does say edited, but
yeah,
it would be nice to show the full thing.
Sure.
Have a page where you can see your post history.
Okay.
For comments.
Sure.
I just think I think that would be a little bit of, I think that would instill a small amount of accountability in that it wouldn't
you can see, oh, this guy posts like an asshole a lot.
Yeah, and also just it wouldn't feel so much like you're just saying words out into an empty void that are meaningless and have no consequence.
Right, which is very much how the YouTube comment system is today.
Yes. So there would be a little bit of a paper trail.
Sure. Oh, okay.
I would like...
I love this segment. This is my favorite segment ever.
Dear YouTube, I would like to allow commenting from different accounts so you can post personally but monitor from an official brand account. It's a very specific use case for us.
Long to switch. Like, I'm glad that they made it so that it doesn't take you to youtube.com when you switch accounts. It'll actually keep you on the page that you were at. But it's still such a pain. Just let me post as Scam School. Let me post as Cord Killers.
Just right there on your little face. Right you click on it and it goes post as this other account that you have. I have like 8 linked accounts on YouTube. Yes. Just let me post as one of those. So what I do is I use 2 different browsers. I use Firefox and Chrome. Firefox is logged into Modern Rogue. I look through the comments there. I, open up all of the comments in different tabs that I want. I go into that tab, copy the link, paste it into Chrome where I'm logged into my own account, and then respond from there. And then I just take each tab over and then respond. So that way that's the fastest way to do it.
Yeah.
It's really dumb.
That's pretty dumb.
I wish there was a better way.
Okay.
Dear YouTube. I also think it would be cool to have basically user flares for selected accounts, right? So let's say I wanted to post as Brant and not as Modern Rogue. There could be a user flare given to me by Modern Rogue on Modern Rogue videos that says editor, camera operator. So that way it lends a little bit of legitimacy.
Or even a badge of just like a channel moderator or channel partner, channel friend, something that was like, hey, this also like Distinguish on Reddit does, where you can choose to have the moderator M or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just something that says, hey, this is a person you should pay attention to. That would be nice.
Yeah.
Dear YouTube.
Okay.
I would love it if you could find a way to surface new child comments, or at the very least, old comments as they gain traction. That's where the cesspool of YouTube truly lies, because even if you have somebody hired who is a comment moderator who their full-time job is to look through comments and keep it clean and not a horrible mess, when you look through the feed of comments, it just shows new parent comments. So if anybody replies to any comment ever, you never see the reply unless it's a brand new parent comment.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So you might go to an old Modern Rogue video and then see, oh, there's this totally innocuous comment. There are 150 replies that have just devolved into the worst fucking conversation I've ever seen. And there's no way for me as a moderator to even know about that. Except for that I just happened to go to that video and happened to find that comment again.
Yeah, I think that if I'm remembering correctly, I think that I've seen this where if you have email notification turned on, that it doesn't email you for like replies.
Really?
All I know is that I'll get like 3, new comment on this video, new comment on this video, and then I go to the video and it's got like 15 comments on it because it's people going back and forth. I don't know, maybe it's a settings thing.
Yeah, it's a real mess, and sometimes I find those threads because it's like, oh, somebody used a word that triggered the blacklist words, and so it got pulled in there, and I can see that it's a reply to something, and I go, okay, let me see the whole thread of conversation that led up to this point. And then I just delete like 20 comments or something. It's a mess.
Oof.
To YouTube. It would be so nice if we could replace a video after X hours. Give me a 2-hour limit, and within 2 hours of uploading a video, I could replace it with a video file.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
It could be abused a little bit. That's why you put a time limit on it.
Okay. That's the thing. There's a similar thing with Twitter, right? People are just like, hey, just put a time. But the problem is that even an hour or 2 hours is long enough to create ambiguity.
I have a solution for that.
Okay.
Keep the 360p file, 480p, something like that, for the original version. Show edit history.
Okay.
Then you can see what was changed. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Or implement some kind of system where if you abuse it, then you can't have it anymore.
Yeah, just make it like high-level partners or something.
If you've had a YouTube channel for X number of years and you've never screwed around, why not give you some advanced tools?
It's not like people aren't abusing the system without replaced videos.
Sure.
It's not like people aren't uploading total garbage.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. And the big impetus behind this is something where it's like, you can watch the video all day long. If you're uploading a 30-minute video, it's pretty easy to skip over something where it's like, oh, I should have fixed that. But as soon as you push it out to 50,000 people, 500,000 people, they're going to instantly spot it because you have so many eyes on it. It's the game testing thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I really would have loved if I could have changed the Ohm's Law text on the episode about London stun guns, because I totally got that wrong.
Yeah.
And it's because I was researching late at night and got two things mixed up, and now that's on the episode for forever.
Sure.
Or the cigar episode where there is a blank frame, which is a fun Premiere bug. And so just 28 minutes in, there is a black screen for 3 seconds, which is a pretty easy fix, but
you can't
really upload it by the time people find that.
Sure.
Yep.
How many more you got on that wish list? A couple more pages.
Like
14.
5,
6. Rapid fire. This is a 10-minute
lightning round.
Dear YouTube.
Okay.
Let me hold community closed captions if I want to.
Okay.
Sometimes people So there's a review page, and they say, okay, we did our community closed captions. Please review it. And sometimes they just YouTube decides to publish it even if I don't approve it.
I see.
I think that's kind of lame.
Okay.
I would love to hold it. Broaden the closed caption tools, right? So native positioning, multiple closed captions for the same language would be so nice because there are different types of closed captions you want.
Sure.
Sometimes you just want dialogue. Sometimes you want dialogue and audio description. There are a variety of like totally acceptable different versions for the same language. That would be very nice. You can't do that right now. The only workaround is if you do UK English and US English.
Okay.
But obviously there aren't many languages that have that kind of thing.
Sure.
Also fixing the accreditation stripping. So if the community submits a closed caption and you go in and edit it after it's been published,
it loses all of it.
It strips away all of those credits.
Okay.
That's an easy fix. I say that not knowing how to design a
YouTube
website.
is built on so much duct tape, I would be surprised that it can run at all today.
Yeah. Fix the broken tagging system in comments. I think a lot of that's built off the back of Google Plus, but like if you reply to somebody, it'll be like plus their name or whatever, and sometimes it'll work and sometimes it just doesn't, and it's bad.
Weird. Yeah.
This one is very specific to me.
Okay.
I would love it if there was some kind of official bookmarking technology, which would be nice, or like chapter breaks. So in the timeline, it would be really nice if you could just have skippable sections for like the cooking a steak episode. It'd be really nice if there was like, as you're scrubbing through, you can very clearly see, hey, this is when we start cooking the ribeye. This is when we start cooking this steak.
Oh, I see.
That kind of thing.
Like chapters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they'll never do it because
they won't ever do that.
They have time codes in comments, which is a totally acceptable solution to them, which I think is not great, but sure.
For the to tell you how impossible that is going to be on the the actual YouTube TV app that they push out everywhere, there is no way to easily start a video over from the beginning. If you are watching, say, a 20-minute or 30-minute video, and it has remembered that you are 15 or 20 or 30 minutes into that video, there's not a button to rewind to the beginning. You have to hold the seek all the way back as it ticks.
Be kind, rewind.
Gosh,
we've come full circle.
All right, last one? Last two?
Yeah, 2.
Okay.
Expand video credits. I would like video credits on the back end. There are some, so we credit things like actors and cinematographers,
sound
and
design.
editor, sound design. A lot of these aren't necessarily applicable. Actors implies that there's acting and
or writing,
and not just host or person who is in the video.
Sure.
And I never said cinematographer because that's a very specific thing that's different from camera operator, and it's the closest we have to it, but I think there's an important distinction, so I just never fill it out. I would, and also sound design. We list Roberto as sound design on Scam School. He doesn't do sound design. He does sound engineering, which is a different thing.
Completely different. Sure.
But
there is literally nothing better.
Yeah.
Unless I want to make him a gaffer
or animator.
Sure.
And yeah, I just wish they would allow us to expand that. And also if you can't credit somebody who doesn't have a YouTube account
channel, right?
Yeah. So I think that could be done better.
Okay.
And as an animator, I'd like to ask, don't dump people into animation slots.
I didn't say that. I said put him in a gaffer. Those guys just turn light bulbs on.
I've used the animator slot on episodes that I animated stuff. Okay. And lastly,
dear YouTube,
I think the channel cover art is lame as hell and really broken.
The way it's set up, you have to make a huge graphic, but your safe area is a strip right in the middle. It's the stupidest fucking way to set it up.
It's not great.
I hate it.
And it's almost like they could just use a couple different formatted photos.
Sure.
You think, I mean, they're hosting how many how much video footage per day?
Sure.
How much more would it take to have 2 more video or 2 more photos that aren't even that big?
Yeah. Or like the reason it is so huge and has such a small safe area is because they want to reformat that one image across multiple platforms. I never see it. I never see the full screen thing on TV. I watch on TV. That stuff doesn't even surface anywhere.
Yep.
And also,
that's really bad.
The way that they reformat it for everything is they say, okay, you give us this photo. For other devices, we're going to crop it in here. For other devices, we're going to crop it in here. For other devices, we're going to crop it in here.
Right. So it's not just like a strip. It's also a square in the center.
Yeah. And so it's like, well, why don't you, if you're going to let me just upload one photo, why don't you let me move this crop a little bit? Like find the one part of that one photo that works best.
That was the nice thing about Vessel is that you could set you could take a thumbnail and crop it or change it as you needed because they would put their own overlay and text over it.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would like them to fix that. And also I think all that gets routed through like Google Picasa or whatever.
The old Google Photos uploading
or something,
stuff. Yeah.
Because I know anytime I tried to fix it on Scam School, it wouldn't let me because for some reason all of that was full, and then I can never find like the storage files for that stuff, so I can never delete it to open up more space to upload anything. So it was just a kind of thing where it's like, well, I'm gonna update this and never touch it ever again because I have no idea how.
Yeah. Well, and we need to because it still says Friday giveaways on there now. I saw that the other day. I was like, fuck, we changed it right near the end of us doing that, or like maybe 6 months away from us stopping that. All right. Well, YouTube's not going to do any of that.
Yep.
But thank you for.
It's a beautiful dream.
Okay. Do we have time for anything else? This waveforms thing. What's good with this?
I'll just touch on it real quick. So if you see any of the first pass edits, and there are 2 freely available on scamstuff or youtube.com/scamstuff.
There you go.
And sometimes we show audio waveforms just to fill up the space because a lot of times we have 3 cameras, and if we show them all at the same time, then we'll want to fill up some of that space because three video containers don't fit very well.
Yeah.
Right. So we show the audio waveforms. So the way that I have to do that is I have to basically import all of the audio into After Effects and then do a generate waveform and then, let it render out the entire duration of that first pass edit. It's a very resource intensive thing and takes forever. But I think it adds something to it. Unfortunately, there's a thing, and it's a very minor detail, but it really bothers me. It doesn't, like, the sampling isn't quite right, so it pretty much always has like a little bit of wobble in the fine detail. So sometimes if there are little spikes in the waveform, sometimes they jitter back and forth spatially, and so it's kind of always a problem. And you would think there would be a better way. And so the way I've sort of gotten around to it, but it's incredibly time intensive, is I will take the waveform and I will stretch it out to as wide of a time code as possible on as wide of a composition as possible. And so it ends up being 30 seconds because it limits you to doing 30 seconds. It literally measures in milliseconds. So I'm like, okay, like 30,000 milliseconds or whatever. And so I basically set it out so that way it has 30 seconds of waveform, and then I only show one frame of those 30 seconds, and then I'll do one frame of the next 30 seconds and one frame of the next 30 seconds all the way through. And then I'll take that as a nested composition. I put it into the primary composition, and then I take each frame and I freeze frame it. So that way there can't be any wobble or anything. It's basically converting it to an image, and then I freeze frame it and then take it for 30 seconds. I move it, I slide it along the video.
Okay.
Right. So I take it from.
Oh, so you're manually animating the waveform moving across.
Okay.
Okay.
And I have to do that in 30-second chunks. So I just recently put up a first pass edit that was like 35 minutes long. So you can imagine there are a giant list of all of these video files or all of these images. And I feel like there has to be some way to not get that jittery wobble that also doesn't take 4 hours of like fine tuning and editing.
So I'm trying to find some of the jittery wobble. We've got the credit card skimmer here, which is a first pass public edit. Is this the you manually animating it here?
No, I only recently started manually animating.
Okay.
And so I don't know. I'll maybe I'll make a GIF or something, because right now it's also kind of, we're seeing that a little bit low res.
Sure.
And maybe I'll do that to illustrate exactly what I'm talking about. But
so ideally, generate waveform would be what you're looking for.
Yeah, I would really love if there was some way to just say, here's an audio file, generate a waveform, but generate it on a big, long, wide image in like as high res as possible.
So you would rather have like the peak file basically, rather than a live EQ waveform.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you can do that really easy in After Effects.
Mm-hmm.
But
could you render it out and put it into like into something that would play and show that waveform, and then just do like a screen capture of that video and then just sync it up?
Probably, but then I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, if you know of anything, let us know.
Yeah, that's a fun problem for you guys to solve.
Yeah, at Gadawag on Twitter. I don't know. Okay, well, I don't know that we have any more time for. Just
dear YouTube.
And I was gonna bore you with more Instant Pot stories.
That's gonna have to do it for the December 2017/January 2018 edition of the Bizarre Briefing. Thank you, everybody, for checking out the show. Let's go do plugs. Jeff?
RageSelect.com. Just everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, whatnot. Video games, and that's it.
Something that came out over the holiday break was something I filmed with you guys for Rage Select, which was the yearly Just Dance.
Oh, yeah.
Tradition.
Yep.
I had a good time. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So before we went, before I went to go film that with you guys, I looked online and was like, I don't know what's in fucking Just Dance anymore. I have to see if I know any of this music.
Yeah.
And it turns out I didn't. But the song that I ended up doing on the video was one that I saw on one of the videos that they had online. I was like, okay, I'm not doing that one. I'm going to figure out something else to do in between then. And then I forgot about it and it happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's on Race Select.
It's funny, that's when you're describing Modern Rogue shoots. I was so mad by the time we got done with Just Dance because I couldn't get people to stop. Like, there was one microphone on this couch and two microphones on this couch that were having two separate conversations.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to do this intro thing that I like, where I have a camera and the people come up in front of the camera, and then when they're done doing the intro, they go down, and then I cut it so that the first dancer just walks into the frame, so there's no difference. Yeah. And just about everybody, I couldn't get them to stop talking or get out of the frame. I was just at the very end, my friend Matt Frank, who I love to death, was standing, like, the camera was pointing down and he was standing here and he was just like in the side sliver of the frame, and I was like, Matt, get out of the frame, get out of the frame. And what he did was he ran like around the whole room to go off the right side instead of just going like boop, and that was it. I was just yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Check that out.
Yeah.
More rageselect.com. Brant, what's going on?
Twitter.com/Gadawag, Instagram.com/Gadawag, YouTube.com/MonoRogue, Instagram.com/MonoRogue.
Don't sound so enthused, Brant. Let him know you're saving something for.
There's all kinds of stuff all over the place.
Okay.
You know what it is.
You already know what it is. Follow me on Twitter and on Twitch at Brycas, BRYCS, and you can see the podcasts and stuff that I produce and do some writing and stuff for at twitch.tv/Night Attack. This show you can find at bizarrebriefing.com. We were talking about at some point it came up as like, is it modernrogue.com or themodernrogue.com? And it reminded me that the show is called The Bizarre Briefing, but we have bizarrebriefing.com.
Yeah.
Where the opposite is for Modern Rogue. The Modern Rogue. This was something I always wanted to nail down very early on, and I don't think that it made a lasting impression to Brian necessarily. It was like, is it the Modern Rogue or is it Modern Rogue? Because the graphic says Modern Rogue. We always use Modern Rogue. We we don't do a capital the. But now
the theme song has the in it.
No, because I'm a modern.
Oh, I'm Modern Rogue. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. That was definitely a crisis that I endured last year, and I am 100% Modern Rogue.
Yeah, that when we
Drop the Facebook did it. We're gonna do it.
Yeah,
we're Facebook.
But the Bizarre Briefing is not going to drop the.
True. The Bizarre Briefing.
The Bizarre Briefing.
Yeah.
If you've got a normal briefing, you fucked up.
That's right.
BizarreBriefing.com. You can find past episodes, show notes. You can also watch this show on YouTube, youtube.com/scamstuff. Not the scam stuff. Not the scam school.
Get it right.
Get it right. And until next time, we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Goodbye.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.